Welcome to Black Talk Radio News. I'm your host, Scotty Reid, broadcasting independent black media that speaks truth to power. Today's episode is titled Starvation and Strategy, U.S. Complicity in Gaza's Israeli-made famine. I'm going to examine how food is being used as a weapon of war against civilians in Gaza and how the practice isn't new. It's been U.S. policy before, and it continues right now, and is undeniably a part of the joint U.S. and Israeli plan to cleanse the city ethnically of its inhabitants in order to clear the way for Ashkenazi settlements and beachfront property. Let's start with the facts. Since October 2023, Gaza has been under relentless assault by Israel with targeting and intelligence aid from the U.S. military. Bombing, displacement, intentional infrastructure destruction, but maybe the cruelest crimes of all, starving an entire population. Humanitarian groups, the United Nations, and even some members of the Israeli government have acknowledged the catastrophic scale of the engineered hunger crisis. Aid is blocked, farms and bakeries are bombed, children are dying not just from explosives but from hunger, manufactured hunger, genocidal hunger. Israel is using food or the denial of it as a weapon, and the U.S. government is helping them to do it. The bombs dropping on Gaza, many are made in the USA. The blockade, protected diplomatically by U.S. vetoes in the UN. The starvation, enabled by U.S. policy that has refused to impose consequences for Israel's war crimes and has even rushed new weapons shipments in the middle of this humanitarian collapse. That's complicity, that's collaboration, and it's a continuation of a U.S. foreign policy that has used hunger as a bargaining chip for decades. Let's rewind history for a minute. Back in 1974, Henry Kissinger authored a document known as NSS M200. That's National Security Study Memorandum 200. In that memo, he and the U.S. government laid out a chilling strategy, use food aid as leverage over poorer nations, especially those with fast-growing populations in the global south. The memo literally asked if food could be used as a tool of power and whether the U.S. should withhold it from countries that didn't follow American interests. And while we're on the subject of Kissinger, let's clear up a few things. He was Jewish and fled Nazi Germany as a child. But he was not a quote-unquote Zionist in the traditional ideological sense. He also did not hold dual U.S.-Israeli citizenship, as we have seen many people in our government and our media institutions. And he wasn't an official member of groups like AIPAC. But don't get it twisted. His policies align heavily with Zionist objectives when it served U.S. empire simultaneously. During the Yom Kippur War in 1973, he orchestrated a U.S. arms resupply to Israel and managed diplomatic cover for the occupation of Arab land. That wasn't out of any kind of allegiance to Zionism. It was cold-blooded, quote-unquote, real politics, power politics, empire preservation. Still, the effect was the same: strategic starvation, military dominance, and the shielding of Israel from international accountability. It's a playbook the U.S. continues to run. The U.S. has backed similar starvation tactics before. In Vietnam, crops and food stores were targeted and destroyed. In Iraq, sanctions led to mass civilian hunger. In Yemen, where U.S. weapons fueled a blockade and famine. Gaza is not an exception, it's the rule, and the U.S. continues to back these actions even as international law is trampled and civilians bear the brunt. So here's the question I leave with you. How long will we let food be used as a weapon? How long will the U.S. bankroll and protect nations that starve children for strategic gain? You don't need to be Palestinian to feel this pain. You just need to be human. And as black people, we know what it means to have our humanity denied, our lives devalued, our bodies used for someone else's power. That's why we must speak out, because starvation is not strategy, it's genocide. You can speak up, share the facts, pressure your representatives, support organizations that are delivering aid or advocating for an end to this human rights abuse. And most importantly, stay informed and never be silent when food becomes a weapon. I'm Scotty Reid, and you've been listening to Black Talk Radio News. Until next time, stay conscious, stay vigilant, and stay human.